Hey, welcome back. Welcome in. If you are new to the channel and you don't want to hear me talk about astrology or the oracle and you just want to get straight to the tarot reading, there are timestamps in the description box for those that are familiar. Let's just get into it. Only housekeeping is if you like the message, if you feel like it's worthy of sharing, please like or subscribe and or share. Also, leave a comment. I would like to know how this resonates with you. That would be helpful for future readings as well, as far as like how I give the information. Also, if you like any of the decks or want to know what they are, I try to tell you ahead of time, but sometimes I also don't remember the name. So anyway, I do want to talk about astrology because, we've had some major stuff that's been happening and that's not going to stop. 26 is like full of it. It's 1 year, it's a start over. So of course, all the energy just feels, 10 times more important and heightened and maybe even like super activated, right? But as for today or tonight, May 6th, Pluto has officially, as far as my time zone is concerned, gone into retrograde. It's in Aquarius, but it's in retrograde. Retrograde often gets a bad rap. That's not the case with Pluto in Aquarius. 5 days ago, we had that Scorpio full moon. Was it 5 days? Yeah, 5 days ago. The one that asked everybody the hardest questions, right? The one where the truth couldn't really stay hidden anymore. We're now in what I call like the integration phase. The universe is giving you exactly what you need right now, right? Which is the space to breathe. Individually, and then therefore you can give that. Also, interestingly, permission to look at what actually got illuminated. And what do I mean by permission? Sometimes things are illuminated, but we don't really, like if it doesn't hit us in the face, it can like miss us, right? And so we repeat cycles. But we have the permission now to really say, okay, what is it that got highlighted here? What was it that I was really supposed to see? But specifically with Pluto in retrograde, this is not, like I said, it's not dramatic like you would think about other planets like Mercury going into retrograde, which impacts us a lot, almost every time, always actually. But Pluto in retrograde is significant. Pluto in retrograde asks you to review instead of push, right? So if you've been thinking about big structural changes in your life, your business, your relationships, this retrograde is kind of the universe's way of saying, okay, you're dismantling the things before you dismantle anything else. Look at what you've already transformed because you need to know what you're capable of. That's important. And you need to know then how to walk accordingly from that point. What actually changed beneath the surface? What power dynamics have you shifted? And what are you ready to release that you've been holding on to? Out of habit, by the way. Not because like necessarily a lot of things, if you take a step back, a lot of things aren't as emotional as they feel. They are absolutely habitual. It's important to recognize that. Sometimes they're emotional. I'm not saying that emotions don't play in, obviously, but you just have to look at it shouldn't say have to. It's beneficial if you can look at it from a step back. All right. So then we have, let's see. Mercury is in Taurus, which is making it really nice. In a way, it's allowing kind of like this calm from what has felt like towers, right? The transformation that you've been going through yourself, not just the things that you've been transforming. That's how you transform things, is by going through your transformation. But this Mercury in Taurus is making like a really nice connection to the North Node, which I think is in Pisces today. I'm not an astrologer. I'm just giving you a recap. So, it is a fateful conversation type of energy. Like if you needed to have an honest talk with somebody, if clarity was needed, the energy around the last 24 hours into the 48. So, yesterday, today, tomorrow kind of thing. really more like 36, 72. It's a good time for that. The universe is aligning like with the right words, with the right moment, not about harsh, intense anything. We've had that we're coming through that. And depending on where Scorpio was in your chart, or was in your chart, depending on where Scorpio is in your chart, is how long that full moon will impact you. But we have these other things going on to help kind of soften and balance. Softening being a key word, I think. So because between tomorrow and Friday-ish, the moon is moving into Aquarius. Aquarius moon is a very detached moon. It's intellectual. It's looking at things from, an eagle's eye. After the Scorpio full moon asked you to go really deep, right? Aquarius is now saying, okay, step back and see the pattern. So think about that with Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius, yeah? Like what I was just saying. So what you're really looking at is, okay, the full moon moved something, right? It illuminated. It also began something. But what was the actual lesson there? What's the bigger picture? There's a really gentle aspect here, though. The sun and the moon early in this weekend, especially the sun trining moon in Aquarius. This is a balance. This is integration. The intensity, not saying that it's not going to feel intense in some other ways, but the intensity that we have just been experiencing, that kind of ramped up feeling is now take a breath, right? And then you have Saturday and Sunday, the moon moving into Pisces. Pisces rules rest, reflection, spirituality, dreams. It's a good time to kind of just like be in presence, whether it's your own presence with another person, family, friends. It's just a good time to just be in presence. You need to let last week settle a little bit. Again, the intensity, right? But especially in the nervous system. The Scorpio full moon was a lot. It was actually activating the nervous system because Scorpio is deep, right? Like Scorpio is get in there, get in that emotion. And that's all nervous system. But you don't really need to do anything now with that. You just kind of need to like let it integrate. Everything was already happening. Everything already did happen, depending on where you are in your journey, in your path, in your cycles. It's kind of the reality. That is reality. Things have already happened. So now you need to let them settle. And if you've been in like a frozen state, or, if you broke as part of this full moon a cycle in order to begin a new cycle, this weekend is kind of the time to settle into the new reality instead of fighting it. There's definitely this, that fight or flight was activated. Well, fight, flight, or freeze, right? But now, no matter where you are in that kind of activation, you can just breathe. And I'm not saying like, I'm not telling you to let it breathe. I'm saying that the energy will actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It will encourage that. So, this is kind of a good time to just let your body and spirit, in other words, like adjust to the ground that shifted, right? That tower moment. Venus also is still in Gemini, which means the conversation energy is still there, right? Like I said, this is a good time. This is a really good time to have clear conversations, if you need them. But the Pisces moon is kind of inviting you more towards that emotional softness, not emotional cry your eyes out, but like the emotional caress, if you will, of holding space for yourself, holding space for others. Could be physically. This is also a good time for creativity, journaling, dreaming, processing beneath the words. That's the Pisces, right? It's like Scorpio diving deep, but it's not the intensity of Scorpio. Intensity is literally the rebirth, right? The death and rebirth. Pisces is like, okay, now you're just kind of flowing with the current. It's like a nice, lazy river. Think of a lazy river. And then when we start next week, and I'm really just giving you the high level here, as you know, like I said, I'm not an actual astrologer. I just want you to have the updates. Next week, we have a new moon in Taurus, which I think is on the 16th. And then that new moon is going to be in conjunct with Uranus, which means it's already tied to the massive frequency shift that's happened when Uranus entered into Gemini 2 weeks ago. And Uranus is going to be there for like 7 years. So, you know, this is just kind of like, okay, and now we're kind of in it, right? It's like a newborn baby. The first couple weeks is like really like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't know how to do this. I don't know what they want. And then a few more weeks goes by and it's like, okay, I think we've got a pattern. And then it's like, all right, we're definitely on a better schedule. That's kind of the energy of Uranus into Gemini, except Gemini is shaking things up. But we'll get into that in a little bit. The new moon in Taurus that's going to be coming up is going to be asking, like, what do you want to build that's real and lasting now that you're in this new phase? And Taurus is Earth, right? So it kind of gives you the tools to do that. The tools meaning, like, because the moon doesn't stay in these signs, you know, that long. It's like what, 1 to 2 days, I think, in each sign, something like that. But for those, let's just say 24 to 48, again, maybe into 72 hours. It depends on where all the placements are for you in your personal chart. But the Taurus moon is going to have you really kind of start answering, like giving you the answers of what it is that, hold 1 second. And I think I have to shift the camera. Sorry, hold on. Okay. It looked like it was about to tilt over. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure. So if there was a pause there, that's why. Anyway. All right. So Taurus is giving you these kind of answers of like, here are the tangible tools. Now you know how, or you can do tangibly, physically, materialistically, whatever, to build the new structure. And you are building a new structure because there was, for most of us, a tower moment, or you're in the tower moment still maybe. But again, there's a softness that's coming through. And also, I mean, like, it feels softer because it's complete opposite energy from the Scorpio full moon that was harvesting, you know, in a way, what was already dead. But that's, you know, that's next week, that new moon. I mean, it's a heads up. It's important, and I'm not going to, like, you know, of course, we'll touch back on this later. But that's next week. This week is definitely presence, rest, creativity, holding, integration, and let the universe hold you for a second too. There's permission again. But what you need to know is that the Aries energy has not disappeared. It won't be disappearing because you're going to have Saturn and Neptune, both in Aries through 2028, and then Neptune like another 15 years post that, right? So, or is it that long? No, maybe not that long. Let's just say 12 years post that, something like that. So, that energy, of course, is act now, ask questions later. Courage demands speed, right? The window closes if you wait. You got to go. You got to do it now. And this is true. That's life, right? And in fact, I do want to talk about that in tonight's reading. You know, like, this is all but a moment. And we have this 5D experience. We are here on the spiritual journey. We are, most of us who are watching tarot, who are using tarot as a tool, who are using astrology as a tool. We're on the spiritual journey, and we know that time in this 3D experience is fleeting, right? Like, life is short, but it's wide. And so you kind of have to take the proverbial bull by the horns, right? And do the things, or you're doomed to repeat. For some of us, it's fine. Some of us don't mind repeating some of the cycles we're in, and that's fantastic. For others, you know, we then get stuck in the other cycle of asking, why me? Why is this happening? Why am I going through this again? Well, you know, that's when you should use more of the tools. And what I mean by that is, like, these tools are here to assist you along the way, and you're still not going to get it all right. Perfect, right? That's what the cycles beyond this 3D experience, this human life, are for. so that you can gain tools in this life and then use them in the next. But for those of us who want to be in this life right here, right now, because it is about the present moment, it is about the present moment, then there is this sense, especially with the Aries energy, to act now and ask questions later, right? Or act now and ask for forgiveness later. It is about finding the courage. It is about doing the thing before the window closes on you. Versus that Gemini energy that we've been talking about is saying, gather information, see the multiple perspectives, communicate before you move. Flexibility is power, right? The funny thing is, those actually go together. It's not, it has to be one or the other. It's both. You can act now as you're asking questions. You can gather information as you're moving forward. That is kind of actually the flexibility. You're not waiting, you are moving. How you do it depends on the data that you're gathering in the time, right? Like in the present moment. So again, Aries says, like, do the thing, do it today. Your life is finite. Finite? Am I saying that right? I think I am. Anyway, but regret comes from not acting, right? From not doing the thing. You look back and go, damn it, I wish or only if, right? Then Gemini is like, but wait, have you thought about it from this angle? What if there's some information you're missing? What if the conversation that you're supposed to be having or could be having changes everything? Now, see, that's the thing. Even a conversation is action. So if you're doing that, you're not acting. You're just gathering information as you act. You're moving with, it's like pivoting, right? You pivot as you go. So that being said, there's like a collision point here, especially for someone with a strong Aries placement, or for someone who maybe has an Aries season transit kind of thing. You're going to feel the urgency, and that urgency is real. It's not false, but Aries is reading the room correctly. Some things do have expiration dates, and that's the key thing here. This is where you have to, I need to stop saying that. This is where, if you have your eyes wide open and you are gathering the data and you are having the conversations and you are pivoting accordingly based on what you're gathering, they work well together, right? Because again, sometimes windows do close. Some people do need to know that you're going to do XYZ. Some things require movement even when you don't want to. But that being said, how you do that is based on the data. Data. I say data. Anyway. And then it's like simultaneously, especially with Uranus and Gemini, are you moving? The question really is like, are you moving from clarity or are you moving from fear? Those feel the same sometimes, but they lead to really different outcomes, right? If you're moving from fear, then are you really gathering the data and pivoting as you gather it? Or are you doing that kind of rush to, like, just say you did it? Whatever the it is, I don't even know, right? But there's a moment here, especially with all of the other transits, and especially with Pluto going into retrograde, and especially with the moon, Pisces, and going into Aquarius, and then that Taurus new moon. There's an opportunity here to really have some clarity and to move accordingly. More. Even though Aries is the act now, courage is moving before you're ready kind of thing, go initiate, be brave, ask forgiveness later if needed, right? The warrior energy. Aries is the warrior energy. And even though Gemini is like, wait, think it through, get all the information, see it from multiple angles, communicate clearly, that kind of thing, which I think would be like more the strategist energy, right? There's that Neptune and Saturn aspect that's sitting in Aries that is giving you the commitment to the brave action. And then Uranus and Gemini that's saying, okay, but let's rewire how we do this real quick. And so the real question then becomes, how do you act with the Aries courage and the Gemini wisdom. So it's not really soften, like there's a softer energy. Like I said, Pisces, it helps with that going into this weekend, especially right now. It feels like a softer energy. It is a softer energy. It allows you to breathe. You can just breathe. I mean, I'm sure you can feel like even the difference, you know, in the chest, but it's not soften and weight. That's like a misread of Pluto in retrograde. And it's not completely accurate of Pisces moon, but it's before you continue to burn down everything from the tower that fell, right? Make sure you understand what you're actually burning down and why. And like, that's the commitment that was being asked before, right? Like, be committed to your movement and do so with clarity. Because Gemini and Uranus is saying like that old information you were operating on it's incomplete, right? The new information is arriving, and it's arriving rapidly. That part is still in full effect, the rapid kind of succession here that's taking place. But it's like the energy of just do it is being updated, right? Of do it with new information. The softening, again, so this weekend, I should say, isn't really about passivity. It's about integration. And I think that's going to be your keyword going forward for a while. Integrate. Your nervous system absolutely needs to process what the Scorpio full moon revealed, so that when you do move, as you do move, and you will be moving, that's unavoidable. You'll be doing so from a place of truth and not just impulse. So it's like this moment is you settling, like I said from the beginning, it's like you settling into what it was that was kind of moving you, that foundational energy, the truth that you've been, you know, processing for 7 years based on Gemini and Taurus, but then also for the last 2 with Saturn and Pisces, and then the last, 14, something like that, with Neptune also in Pisces. I mean, there's been so many years of processing and learning about yourself and the introspection and all of these things. You've come to your truths, but now it's like, okay, settle in. And then kind of the acceptance of these things. And also, again, somebody with strong Aries placement. This is going to be a really, like, if you have strong Aries, just be warned. I mean, you've already been feeling it, but your Aries parts, your Aries placements are going to be screaming, just freaking do it. Whatever it is, just do it. Don't talk about it. Don't, plan about it. Just be it. Life is short. And that is not always, necessarily the healthiest way to act. I'm not going to say it's unhealthy, because for some of us, again, like, windows do close. The Gemini part, though, is going to be activating the right now as well, but just in a way of, again, based on the information that Gemini is like throwing at you. I mean, it is. That's what it's going to be doing. It's just going to be throwing things at you. So that means you'll have new perspectives. You'll have new conversations that weren't even possible before. You'll be finding a courage. In fact, that's kind of a good way to say it. You'll be finding a courage that you never had before when it comes to communication. It's pretty fantastic when you think about it. Like, so while it's a collision of sorts, because of the two different energies, it's a collision that actually, like, I don't know, think of, like, this is stupid, but think of like Jell-O that just kind of morphs into one. It's so weird. And then, of course, Saturn in Aries is like saying, or asking you, Saturn's quizzes. That's how I like to think of it. Saturn's quizzes. Is this the brave thing, or is this the impulsive thing? And can both be true? It gives you the moment to, like, think about the consequences as you're moving, and then the commitment, knowing what the consequences are going to be. That's the real courage, to commit. And so I guess in that way you could say the softening isn't really like instead of action. It's like action informed by reality instead of action informed by urgency. The reality of your new life, the reality of your new path. I keep feeling for somebody this is really about a job. It's possible, like a new job kind of thing, or maybe a new opportunity, or maybe you're seeking a new job, and then you need to think about the consequences of what that would mean. I just, like, don't jump into, but also, if that's what you know you have to do, if that's your truth, then you do so with the information that allows you to move accordingly before that window closes. It's almost like there's a science here, but you do it, you'll have the information. Like you don't really, in fact, I guess what I'm really trying to say is you don't need to stress it too much, because you're going to be getting downloads like crazy. It's all going to be coming to you. So you can move accordingly. Promise. But you have to believe that too, right? Like I said, be careful the stories you tell yourself, for those are the ones that you believe the most. If you remember that you don't have to, have one or the other, it doesn't have to be a black or white situation. It doesn't have to be a this or that kind of thing. Ooh, guess what? Battery is dying. Hold on one second. Well, here's hoping, because everything's plugged in, so here's hoping that nothing dies in the middle of the reading. Anyway, so all of that said, I don't know. I mean, I've said a lot, and I've gone on astrology for like almost 30 minutes here. Don't worry. Don't panic. You're still going to be moving. You're still going to be doing all the things that are necessary for the journey that you're on, the path that you're on, moving towards your North Star. Person, place, thing, it doesn't matter. Pick your poison. But you'll be doing so with your eyes really wide open instead of in panic. And it's going to be a much more confident-like feeling, right? So that's saying, like, we're only in this life for a moment, so we have to do the things and say the things and be the things. That's total Aries and Uranus. And it's true. Life is short. The urgency is real. But the Pluto retrograde and Gemini are going to whisper underneath, the moment is shorter than you think. If you spend it recovering from a choice you made without all of the information, you can then move in that choice that you made with even more information. And you'll do so from a more grounded place. And that's the key. And you'll be present for it. That is also the key. Kind of enjoying the little moments, and especially this weekend, like the little breaths that come. Life is a roller coaster. You're still going to have these other things that happen. But yeah, just be present. Just be present. It's so easy. I know. I'm going to stop. All right. So for now, let's get into the reading. Goddess, God's universe, please. Thank you for everything. Give us an oracle card. Thank you. And I think this is hilarious. Hilarious considering Gemini and Aquarius. This is Prince of Winter, which is about intellectual, determined, focused, and impulsive energies. And it says, seek out an intellectual solution to your problem. The need to act quickly and decisively is here, but there's also sudden or unexpected changes. How is that for the universe confirming everything we just talked about? And I'm literally going to leave it with that one card. Shortest oracle segment of life. So I've already shuffled everything. I'm using the Phantom Wise Tarot as our base layer. I really like this. I used this the other day for one of the readings, or for the main reading. And I think, talk about softening. Yes, thank you. Look at that. 4 of Swords and 2 of Pentacles. And look at that together. Isn't that fantastic? Like, you're doing all right. You're balancing just fine. You can breathe for a moment. She's got the sword. She's ready if something, were to come attacking. It's not to come attacking. You have that one ace, that one, right? That axe. Oh, see my nail. Don't look at my nail. Don't look at my nail. Anyway, that one ace of swords, and then you have that 2, like the intuition. Everything's working together. Also an ace there on the floor with her. It all depends on how you look at it. That's how I like this. I mean, I like it this way. Anyway, And then you have the poodle, I believe, that's balancing here. And there's one big pentacle, one small pentacle, and it's okay. It's working. It's not necessarily a juggling act. It's just you're doing it. You're doing it. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, I think there's a moment like this is kind of the work-life balance. Work-life balance. It may be that you've been juggling too much, right? And now it's a little bit easier because this one pentacle that's so much larger is not going to move quite as fast, right? And that makes it just a little bit easier. And then the rest. And sleeping, some of you could really just be like in a time of wanting to just lounge around. I think that's acceptable. Ace of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. What you've been doing for your cup here. You're being very careful, which is not bad. You're being very careful. You're paying attention to the details. I'll show you the card in a second, but it's an opportunity, I think, really in this for yourself. Again, I'm just hearing work-life balance. For some of you, you may have been in a job, or you may be in a job that is really just taking way too much out of you. And it might have been serving a purpose, or, it pays really, it pays the bills. It could be that it's just what you've always known, right? And so I don't know why. I don't have any cards here of fear, but maybe it's scary to think about doing something else. But I am hearing work-life balance is really necessary right now. There is this moment necessary to breathe. And you might be feeling like switching a job is important, or like I need to do it now. I don't think that is what, and why we're getting two at a time. And then you have the Star and you have the Four of Cups. For some of you, this could literally be about love. There is wish fulfillment here. This one is almost like that star, that North Star, that eye on the prize is so big and so overwhelming that you don't even realize you're pouring both jugs out, right? That's not what I typically see for the Star. I typically see that as a balance of energy, but you could almost say that those jugs are ever flowing, right? The water just keeps on pouring out because it keeps on flowing through. This is major arcana. It doesn't talk about finite resources. It doesn't really do that. But that's like looking right at that North Star with this Ace of Cups and the work that's going in right at that North Star. And then we have the Four of Cups that came out with that. It's like you don't even realize maybe how big it is. Or you're still sitting here looking at the other things that maybe you tried but didn't work out so well. And so maybe this is where the details for you, where you need to let the information come in. I am hearing that strongly. Let the information come in. Don't block don't shoot the messenger. That's so weird. Don't block the messages. Because they're here. They're coming. Don't try to block them. I mean, because if you try to block them with this Gemini energy, Uranus and Gemini especially, and this shakeup that's going on, if you try to block them, they're going to punch you in the face. So do we get two again? What is happening? This is so funny. Yes, I mean, I think this is look at it. Don't not look at it. Let the information come in. Let the information come in. Why? Let's see. Then you have the Magician, and then you have the Death card. Talk about major arcana. I mean, this is huge. This is big stuff, right? This is how you're going to make the magic happen. Let the information come in. Find that work-life balance. You have the ability to do so. You are a co-author, co-narrator of your life. Okay. So work with the universe, not against it. And then this is how, look how much easier this transformation looks in comparison. Totally prepared. Totally freaking prepared. Umbrella out, ready. The rain is pouring. We're good. The transformation is constant, by the way, if you're doing it right. If you're doing life right, you never stop growing. You never stop learning. That's the only time I'll really say right. That's not true. And then you have the sun. Holy shit. Sorry. I mean, this is a major breakthrough. Major breakthrough. It's beautiful energy. And I think you know who you are. Allowing this breath, allowing this balance, allowing the new information, the new life that you've gone into here. I mean, you've gone into it. If you're seeking out a new job, remember, do so with some logic. Try and step back from the emotion. You have the opportunity to do that as we go into this weekend and next week, okay? If it is about especially transitioning into a new position, do so from a place of logic that's like setting yourself up to transition out of the one position into the new, okay? Well, hello. And then the Emperor. This is big energy. Big energy. I think I would even say for the Emperor specifically, there's a few different storylines going on here. This is an aha moment. And it feels like, see this cup here? This cup there, this cup here. The cup with the Magician. The rain that's pouring down for the Death card. Transformation all the way. Transformation all the way. The sun. All the sunflowers looking up to the sun. The Emperor definitely figured something out. Is figuring something out. That might be about the energy that's coming in. Page of Swords. Like, in the cutest way possible. I mean, this Page of Swords is so cute. But figuring something out and like, okay, I have the truth. And now I feel like I can be that. I feel like I can be that. I can be my truth. Careful. Page is like an ace. It is an opportunity. So there is kind of this, with the Page, a little bit of hesitation, but it's not hesitation without action. You know, she's there on the stage. She's doing the thing. She's getting ready to dance. The hair is in motion. So we can say the steps, the movement is taking place. Hello. Seven of Cups. But you're doing so now with this is the information coming in. Watch. This is the information coming in. You're doing so informed in your truth, aha moment, informed, and you're starting to see things clearly and how to continue to move accordingly. And that is pretty fantastic. I love this energy for you. I really do. This is quite beautiful. Anything else here, Spirit? Before we dive into the details. It's pretty detailed, I think, already, but we're going to add a splash of color in here. Nothing else? Oh, Three of Wands. Yeah, this is taking the moment. So you see that Seven of Cups, all the information is coming in. You're now seeing how to apply it. Which direction? The direction's already there. I mean, this is just kind of taking the moment. This is the breath. Everything you wanted, everything that you decided upon in that 2 The 3 following the 2. What is this career related? I really do feel like the Hierophant and the 5 of Cups. Okay, so you're kind of taking stock of the things that you lost. Lost is a strong word, but it feels like that, right? I mean, we're not going to deny, we don't want to deny the feelings. That would be an injustice to yourself. All right, so don't deny your feelings. But the Hierophant is the knowledge. Look at this. It's almost like a high priestess, a masculine high priestess energy. You have the 2 cats. They're waiting here for their story time, if you will. It's like you may even have somebody who comes in as a guide, or there's a teacher, or there's someone who's maybe been through your situation already. It could be you becoming a guide for somebody else going through a similar situation that you're going through. And it's kind of like what I hear in this is you're allowed to feel it, but don't forget why, don't forget what's working. Like there are things that are working, and that's kind of that transformation that we were talking about. Like, right? Like there's a tower that's already come down, and you did it for your truth, for your path, for your journey, or whatever. And so before you burn it all down, that's fine, because it's now you've got to kind of settle into that energy, this new space. But don't forget what's actually working, what's there, what's available. I mean, look at all the books. It's information overload in a good way. It's a comforting. There's definitely a comforting energy here. Anything else from these cards before we get into the details, Spirit? Anything else? And I mean, holy majors, right? Like, that's some strong, strong energy for you. That's good. It's good. I really feel a strong message of you're protected. Like, you're protected here. Go ahead and breathe. You're protected. It's safe to breathe. All right. I think last one. The Fool. Yeah. Go ahead. You're doing so with the information. See the white cat? There's the 2 white cats here in the Hierophant. You're doing so with the information now. You're starting that's kind of you know where you're going. And with that death and rebirth card, I mean, I'm in love with this reading, I think. All right, so let's get some color. This is the Daydream. I want, please, just details. The person who's watching this who needs to hear the message guide. What else can you give them for details? Is this career related? Is this career related? I wanted to do these cards, but I'm hearing that I need to pick up the Tarot of Tradition. No, okay, thank you. It's definitely mental, and I read this 7 of Swords. It's a 7 of Swords card. I read this one very differently. If you watch the other videos, you'll know that, because that ace is standing strong, up front, proud, right? Like, so for me, this is a truth that's supported through all of the things that you've gone through, and like pain, healing, through Swords for me are those 2 things. It's the heartbreak and the healing, but then there's the flames here. It's like forged in fire. What else? Forged in fire. What does that have to do with this Emperor who's learned all the things? The Moon. Okay. I think this is pretty literal. What's been taking place with that full moon in Scorpio. This really kind of deep dive, intensity, forged in fire. hearing your truth, speaking, your wounds, speaking your truth. Woo. And then it's looking back, I believe, to see all the things that you have grown, all of the things that you have nourished. You have that Six of Cups here. There's also a balance, an emotional balance in this, almost like a Six of Pentacles, right? Okay, so are you trying to tell me that, okay, for this person, is this about a relationship? It could be about a relationship because you have all these pentacles to start. And then you've just got major arcana. But the Four of Cups to the Six of Cups after the truth of the new moon, that also speaks to progression, emotional progression. The Emperor with his cup. Hello. Yeah, but there's definitely, okay. So it could be that it's a partnership, it's a potential partnership that leads to, a more stable, tangible kind of life. And again, I go back to the career thing. You've got Four of Pentacles here, Knight of Wands, and then Nine of Pentacles. This is really about moving towards, it's moving towards that Ten of Pentacles. It's moving towards something that is long lasting, and it does feel like it is materialistic of sort, or tangible. Again, it's Pentacles are the tangible. So job, physical, like location, literally moving, things that you may no longer need, right? Like Taurus energy was big on, it's mine, this is what I've worked for. And we're kind of moving out of that into that Gemini energy. Yes, we'll have that new moon in Taurus, which gives us that grounding foundation, but it's not quite the same as Uranus in Taurus. But, so Four of Pentacles, that is definitely for me, this is speaking to moving stable. This is a stable. They're hanging. They're perfect. They're not actually blocking a path. Your path is right here. And you're doing that. But you're going to do so, this Aries energy for me, this Knight of Wands, like moving without thinking, you're not doing that. There's been lots of thinking, lots of downloads that are still to come, lots of contemplating, lots of learning, finding the emotional balance, moving forward thanks to that. Anything else here, Spirit? Yes. And there's your Five of Pentacles, and there's your Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, so you've got like this Four, which can go into the Five, right? And you've got this Nine, which can go into the Eight. I mean, you can absolutely walk towards that beautiful, solid work foundation. That's the Five. And again, there's this progression here. There's like this, almost like a mirroring. And if you are in relation with, I'm not taking all that, thank you. If you are in relation with someone, relationship or partnership, especially if it's a work partnership, this could speak to mirroring and doing things together. You could be on like slightly different levels here, 4 or 5, 8, 9, that's fine. But there's still a sense of balance. And sorry about the dog barking. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? I'm going to pause. Hold on. Okay, I think there's just going to be a dog barking for eternity. It's fine. So, I do think that there is definitely there's something about work-life balance. There's your Page of Swords and the Chariot. This is you trusting your instincts. It feels big. It can even feel a little scary, but you're trusting your instincts here. And again, I think because you're gaining more information, it's not going to stop it from feeling like maybe even a little insane. I mean, you see this chariot on this hill, right? Those wheels. But there's that full moon again. And that might be some of that residual energy that you could feel depending, again, where the placements are for a long time. And there's your Ace of Wands. Yes. Yes. You're moving accordingly. There's a balance here. If it's a job that you're seeking that maybe offers more work-life balance, or maybe the work that you've been doing has just been so intense, maybe there's a moment of pause here before you make your move. Maybe there is a moment to breathe so that way you can have a clear mind as you put in your notice, perhaps, and you accept that other position, because you do have this full energy. There's definitely a new path that you're on. There's definitely this new start. And if that's the case, you are protected. You are protected. Major arcana abound here. The universe. Yes, Knight of Swords. You are protected. I didn't take it because it was just so... Hi. Okay. And then King of Wands. Yeah, you're good. You're good. We're going to end it there. Happy Pluto in retrograde. Have a good night.